This video is presented by fiberglass. Hey everyone, welcome to the Electric Supercar channel. This is WATTSON and we're taking it to SEMA. So this one took me about 3 years to build, and there's one thing I always wanted to do. So it is an amazing looking car, but I always felt like it could really use a rear diffuser. So this episode we're gonna make a carbon fiber rear diffuser using 3D printing. Let's get to it. To begin with, I got with my friend Ian at IJ Design Studios, and he made up a rendering of what a rear diffuser might look like. Man, I was sold. I thought it looked great. So from that point, we got CAD and sliced it up in a slicer and started 3D printing. And because I got a cool camera, here's the time lapse. The overall plan for this one is to laminate or put the carbon fiber on top of the 3D printed part. That is not typically how you would do it. Typically you'd make up a mold and then put the carbon fiber into the mold and then have that be the final part. And essentially any of the internal space would just be air. What we're doing here is we've got a little bit of a compressed schedule. Instead of just air, we've got a thin layer of plastic around the outside, but still a lot of air in the middle. However, it will have all the same structure and stiffness as the carbon fiber. So again, we're only relying on the external carbon fiber for the structure, not the internal 3D printed part. It always takes me a minute to get my bearings, but this is what we've got to work with. So again, these all have holes and dowel pins, so we'll go ahead and get started. All right, here it is. I think it looks really good. I think we're getting better and better at this. However, before we apply any carbon fiber, we gotta clean up all the edges and spots where the little heat staples were. So we have to do that either way. So we'll go ahead and break out some body filler and get to making this look better. All right, this is just after one quick skim coat. The goal here is I'm not looking for smooth, I'm just looking for any cracks or things. When I lay the carbon fiber down, it's not gonna give ripples or distortions. So really just trying to blend any of these seams, make sure that if there's any misprints, little high spots or low spots, so we get those evened out as well. So we're pretty close here. I'm gonna go through it one more time, just mainly over the seams. This is kind of the bottom layer, the bottom weave. So this one is a non-stabilized, so it can kind of flow and match things pretty evenly. My plan is to have it wrap around just a little bit on the lip. I used some of the spray adhesive, Infusion adhesive. The Infusion adhesive is good just to kind of make sure things stay in place. So I've got things all in place. I'm gonna try the stabilized. The reason why you do the stabilized is because then the weave looks just great. Challenges for things like this where you're gonna have some of these compound curves. I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna give it a try. This is the stabilized carbon fiber, and you can see it just does not conform. You see, it's like anytime you kind of have compound curves, doesn't handle that very well. So we'll go ahead and stick with just the traditional carbon fiber that kind of has a little more play. And so here's the plan. This is the first layer. We're gonna go ahead and laminate this one and then do another layer, probably 3 layers on top. We are doing this outside, but get the sun either way. All right, just laid up a couple layers of the carbon fiber. We're gonna go ahead and let this cure. I had it come off the edges a little bit, so when it hardens, we can trim it up and then flip it over and do the other side. I'm gonna call this the car layer, meaning this side is the one that's gonna be facing the car, so nobody can really see it, but wheeled it out in the sun, help it cure a little faster. All right, I brought this inside. I think the sun kind of helps heat it up and cure it quicker. Just to recap, I'll call it the car side. Again, the side that's facing the car, I just kind of don't care very much at all about what it looks like. The other side though, I do. So I intentionally wrapped it around because I want this bottom side to also wrap around. So that's gonna be, I'll call it like a joint. So what I'm gonna do on this other side, I'm gonna flip it over, but I'm actually gonna make some patterns. That way I can get things to lay a little bit better and be a little more methodical. This other one, I was able to kind of just drape it across. It's a pretty simple shape and just kind of cut around it. This other side's gonna take a lot more time and effort. So I've got things mostly cleaned up. I'm leaving this one a little bit long. I'm actually on the carbon fiber joined to this carbon fiber, and then I'll kind of trim it up nice, but I thought I'd leave it just a little bit long. And on this side, I intentionally wrapped it over, but I've kind of sanded it off. I'm gonna have this one come over as well. So we're looking pretty good. So my goal is here, I'm going to get some tape and kind of put tape everywhere, and then I'm gonna cut so I can get some patterns for the carbon fiber. All right, so I've got these tape templates. I'm gonna just go ahead and trace them or stick them onto some paper. We'll just get some better templates traced out. I've got the direction, I'll call it the tape is the direction I want the fibers to go. So we'll go ahead and start making up some templates and cutting out carbon fiber. So I've cut some of the carbon fiber patterns out, and one of the things I did is these are, I'll call it sharp, meaning you got 2 points that come up pretty sharp, and it's gonna be really tough to kind of drape it over or get it to one to stop and another one to start. So what I did is I created some 3D printed parts that kind of match the ridge line. So I'm just gonna have 2 pieces come up and just clamp them together. So that way they'll come up to kind of a point. So either side will come up to a point. They'll just be clamped together and have a nice bond between the two. So we hope this works well. All right, I've got all my pieces kind of laid out where they need to go. I'm gonna start mixing up some epoxy, and hopefully everything goes well. This is gonna be a lot of work in a short amount of time. So I don't know that I'm gonna be able to do a lot of camera work, but we'll set it up and let you watch it. All right, couple hours in the making, but I think we've got it all situated pretty good. Each one of these are like a, I'll call it like a mohawk, but yeah, I think they'll work pretty good, but time will tell. We'll have to wait for this to set up, and then we'll take them off and trim things up. Let this set up overnight, so I'm gonna go ahead and take off the clamps and trim things up. All right, here is the rough trim. Probably go over it one more time, but I think it looks pretty good. Considering this is gonna be like underneath the car, probably won't spend too much time. Do want to make sure it looks somewhat good. There's probably just a few places that I want to touch up, but then I'll put a coat of clear coat on it. I'm actually also wondering maybe about doing like a little yellow stripe, kind of just highlight. We'll see if I get around to that, but why don't we go put it in place, see what it looks like. So again, I like that it's like roughly the same line. Yeah, it's up a little bit, but that's quite all right. And just in general, I feel like it completes the back, just because it was always weird that this came here and then this like started up that much taller. I think I really like that. All right, we got the one side laid up. This is now the underside. So the top side, most of it we don't care about. We care about like the very front where people are gonna see it. Now this side, you can see we got like a seam here. So we're just gonna do a couple new layers just to kind of create that radius on both sides here. All right, just did another wet layup. And again, I think the shape looks good. We've got a lot of overlap, so we should be very good. Again, did 3 layers of the carbon fiber. So I think we should have a very robust joint. We've got bottom and top. So we'll let this set up. We'll need to definitely do some trimming and sanding. And hopefully we can get this thing clear coated and on the car. We are close, but we do need to make one more change. So we've got all the holes and fasteners and everything lined up. I was worried that these might be brought up too much, but they're not. They actually tuck in very nicely with the car. The problem is not underneath. Again, we got enough for a fist. The problem is, so right here, this is a little close to the tire, and then actually it goes back further and actually contacts the tire. So we need to like cut this one off quite a bit on both sides. All right, I'm probably just gonna put one more piece of the carbon fiber right on top here, the most visible. I'll try and make it look nice and pretty, uniform. This will be the part that most people see. All right, after several hours, took it out. Again, this part's gonna be against the car, so you can't see it. Wasn't quite as careful with my layup on this side, but I did put a nice piece right here on the lip because you will be able to see that one kind of from the top. I made sure that these ones look good. Yeah, so it's looking really glossy and nice right now. We'll wait overnight, maybe even a day or two. Actually, I can't wait 2 days because I gotta load it up on the trailer. Yeah, it's looking good, so we'll give it overnight and then we'll mount it up. I think that actually looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty close to the rendering. Probably put some weather stripping kind of around there, just kind of make everything fit nice. All right, we're gonna do a couple last things to finish up. So I've got some weather stripping that I'm gonna put kind of along there. All right, there's always more that you can do, but I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. Just got the weather stripping there. That'll help it, if there's any bumps and things aren't quite perfect, that it won't rattle or rub. So that's good. We've got additional fasten points on the edges. We've got 4 or 5 here and then 4 underneath. So I think we should be good there. You may also notice I got myself a new license plate. That is not real, but gonna present it that way at SEMA. All right, we did it. It was kind of a close call. We had to make a lot of adjustments, but I think this is worth it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. That'll do it for this time. See you next time.